twang is not what I do, then I don't know what is.
Country music wasn't built on the Brady Bunch.
Kenny, you can't save the entire world by yourself.
No, I need help.
This week on Headline Country. Fresh from his Artist of the Decade honor, George Strait unleashes the 38th album of his career. Billy Currington narrowly escapes disaster in Canada. Brooks and Dunn are done, but fans will have plenty of time to say goodbye. And we'll hit the road with the Freak Parade, known as Big and Rich. Plus, could a rural county in Lower Alabama soon become the new mecca for live country music? George Jones and Lori Morgan hope so.
Headline Country starts right now.
Hello, everybody. I'm Stormy Warren. Welcome to Headline Country. Well, from Artist of the Decade George Strait to rising star James Otto, we've got the whole spectrum of country music wrapped up for you in one little 30-minute bundle. Beginning with James Otto's close pals, Big and Rich. In 2004, the grassroots gang known as the Music Mafia was the talk of the industry. Gretchen Wilson was the first member to rise to fame, and shortly after, the world was introduced to the wild antics of Big and Rich. An unlikely pair of singer-songwriters made up of Virginia farm boy turned rock and roll hopeful Big Kenny Alphin and a former co-lead singer of the band Lone Star by the name of John Rich. Together, they turned Music Row on its ear. But for the past 2 years, the guys have taken very separate paths, personally and musically. We caught up with the reunion of the Freak Parade in Chicago as Big and Rich once again have taken their Wild West show on the road.
You ready to have a Big and Rich time?
For die-hard Big and Rich fans, this summer's 30-city tour has been a long time coming.
And we're coming to your city.
They're screaming their heads off and just having a great time. And it's a really cool feeling to actually see these folks after nearly 2 years.
The Pheasant Run Resort in the West Chicago suburb of St. Charles, Illinois, welcomed the duo's much-anticipated return with a motorcycle escort parade, led by the Music Mafia's Cowboy Troy, 2-Foot Fred, and Big Kenny himself.
How are you?
Son, you ready, son? Yeah. All right.
Let's ride.
Ready to ride.
Nearly 2 years after John Rich and Big Kenny took a sabbatical from each other to work on independent projects, the godfathers of the self-proclaimed Freak Parade are back on tour.
Let's take a ride. Let's take a ride on Love Train.
I'm so glad to be back on the road with Kenny and playing these songs and these fans, man.
It's explosively fun. I'm having a blast myself, and all the band guys are we're so tight. You know, just musically tight. It's like a great family reunion, and the energy's just phenomenal.
Even though Big and Rich are once again sharing a stage, that's about the only place you'll find these polar opposite personalities finding common ground these days.
You embrace life in a completely different way than John embraces life. Could you describe the differences?
I can't. I don't, you know what, I can tell you how we used to embrace it together, but now our worlds are just so different that we pretty much only meet on a stage of music. Other than that, I can't keep up with him. You know, I can hardly keep up with myself, so why would I even try?
Well, I would compare it to maybe like the Eagles or the Beatles, or, you know, not that we're that, but that you have such distinct personalities between me and Big Kenny and Cowboy Troy and the rest of us. That I think Big and Rich is a coming together.
Offstage, the duo are worlds apart. Producer, writer, artist, and reality TV star John Rich is deeply entrenched in his quest towards the throne of music and maybe even eventually political power.
If I ever feel like I get to that point and that I would be a good representative, I will run.
Big Kenny, on the other hand, has been busy simply trying to save the world.
And we've both just made it our lives to create. I create in a lot of different ways than John does.
From his efforts building a school in Sudan to rescuing victims of mining operations in his home state of Virginia, Kenny's long-held mantra of love everybody continues to hold true, regardless of the challenges.
Kenny, you can't save the entire world by yourself.
No, I need help.
Kenny's love everybody. I'm not. I think there's some people out there that need to be called to task every now and then.
In the real world, they're shutting Detroit down.
It's these very same personality differences that brought the two together 8 years ago. The opposing forces created a magical musical explosion, showcased on their debut album, Horse of a Different Color. Their mind-blowing blend of progressive rock and traditional country caught the attention of everyone on Music Row. But instead of the success bringing the creative forces closer together, Kenny and John drifted further apart.
Country music wasn't built on the Brady Bunch.
John is still working singles from his solo album titled Son of a Preacher Man. The follow-up to his timely rant about the economic crisis titled Shutting Detroit Down is another lyrical lightning rod about his grandfather, the good Lord and the man.
'Cause we'd all be speaking German or living under the flag of Japan if it wasn't for the good Lord and the man.
Big Kenny is gearing up for the release of his own solo project, set for release in September, featuring the autobiographical debut single Long After I'm Gone, about the legacy he hopes to leave behind.
Long after I'm gone.
John had stuff that he really had written that was real personal to him, and I've done the same thing over the past year and a half. I've got a wife and kid now, so that changes life a little bit.
Their individual pursuits might be good for their souls, but fans and even the guys themselves agree it's tough to compete against their collective creative energy. A volatile energy those closest to Big and Rich say is both a blessing and a curse.
Between the personalities, the relationships, the dynamics, it's a constant ebb and flow. Is that part of the excitement and also sometimes part of the frustration with this game?
Yes, that's very accurate. Very accurate. I couldn't have said it better myself.
They are big and rich, and that magic is hard to capture. Even with John Rich shows or Big Kenny shows or whatever, it's some sort of wild combination, of spirits and creativities, and then you throw myself and Cowboy Troy in that mix, and it's very magical.
Big and Rich style. Make some noise. Come on.
We do have something cool there. I mean, I know the Big and Rich thing, whatever you call it, the dynamic is just, I don't know how to explain it, but it's great and it's good. The quality of it's very high.
It's great. And you just really can't replace that. It's such a chemistry that happens on that stage.
And now to the question every Big and Rich fan is asking. Will we ever see a new album from the duo?
What was Kenny's reaction?
I think we'll do it.
I don't know how in the world we would never do another album.
He's probably going to have a kid here in the next year or so. He'll probably buy a big yacht somewhere. And hopefully we can sit on that yacht in the middle of some beautiful, blue, peaceful place and write an album and go out and do some more Big and Rich music.
But you know what? That revolves around the songs. You got to write them. You got to find them. You got to make sure that when the next Big and Rich album happens, it is colossal.
Chase the Lone Ranger down.
During our interview with John Rich, the outspoken star also talked in detail about his recent public run-ins with the law. Check out headlinecountry.net to hear his side of the story. And one final Music Mafia note, Cowboy Troy will also be releasing a new album in September called Demolition Mission. Don't go away. Look for James Otto's new album to hit stores later this year. Well, that's it for this week. We're going to leave you with another look at James's buddies, Big and Rich, and their freak parade in Chicago. Take care, everybody.
Gonna play a guitar, sing you a country song.